Welcome back, thinkers, dreamers, and casual overanalyzers, to another episode of the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. I'm Matt Plastino, and today we're diving into the swirling, sometimes muddy, often heated waters of opinion versus knowledge. That's right, are we just throwing out our opinions left, right, and center, or do we actually know stuff? And what even is knowledge? Before we answer that, let me hit you with a thought experiment. Imagine you've been stuck in a dark cave your entire life. No, this isn't an ad for suntan lotion. Stay with me. All you've ever seen are shadows on the cave wall, cast by a fire behind you. You've never seen the real world, only these flickering shapes. One day, you get dragged out into the sunlight, and bam, your mind is blown. Colors, trees, the sky, the truth about reality. This is, my friends, Plato's Allegory of the Cave theory is all about. Let's break it down a little more. Plato described a group of people chained inside a cave from birth. They can only see the wall in front of them, where shadows of objects cast by a fire flicker. To them, these shadows are reality. One day a prisoner is freed and forced to turn around. At first, the fire hurts his eyes, and he struggles to process that the objects casting the shadows are more real than what he previously knew. Then he steps outside into the actual sunlight. It's even more overwhelming. But over time, his eyes adjust and he realizes, wow, I have been living in a limited version of reality this whole time. Now, if he goes back into the cave and tries to explain this to his fellow prisoners, they probably laugh at him or even get mad because to them, he is the one who sounds crazy. And this, my friends, is how Plato describes the struggle between ignorance and knowledge, between opinion and truth. The cave represents our limited perspective, and stepping into the light represents gaining real knowledge. But not everyone wants to leave the cave, and that brings us to our topic today. All right, so let's start with the basics. Opinions. We all have them. Opinions are personal beliefs, perspectives, or judgments. They might be based on experience, emotions, or even just something we heard one time from our Uncle Mario at Thanksgiving. They feel right, but they do hold up to scrutiny. Think about it. Have you ever been super confident about something only to find out you were way off? Like when you knew for sure that tomatoes were vegetables, only to have some know-it-all correct you was saying, actually, they're fruit. Rude in a little way, but actually correct. Opinions often live in that cozy space between fact and fiction. They can be informed, thoughtful, and valuable, kind of like a movie review. But they can also be totally baseless. That's why your friend who claims pineapple on pizza is a crime against humanity isn't really wrong. They just might not be invited to my next pizza party. So if opinions are the shadows on the cave wall, what about the actual truth? Now, knowledge. This is the real deal. Knowledge is justified true belief, meaning it's not just something we think, but something we can prove. Remember our friend in Plato's cave? When they first saw the outside world, their initial reaction was probably, nope, this is fake news. But the longer they stayed in the light, the more they realized, oh wow, that wasn't reality in the cave. This is what we live today, where we are now. That's the thing about knowledge. It has to be backed up by reason, evidence, or some form of verifiable truth. Science, for example, thrives on knowledge. We don't just think gravity exists because it feels true. We know it exists because every time someone tries to jump off a trampoline with an umbrella, they quickly learn that they are not, in fact, Mary Poppins. But here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes what we think is knowledge is just an opinion in disguise. Remember when people knew the Earth was the center of the universe? They did, at one point, believe me. Turns out that it was just a wildly held opinion. Science eventually dragged us into the light. And we realize, oops, guess the sun doesn't revolve around us after all. So why does this opinion versus knowledge thing even matter? Well, we live in a time when everyone has a platform. That's amazing, but also means that misinformation spreads faster than anything that you can imagine. With so much noise, how do we tell if we're looking at the shadows or stepping into the light? Simple. We ask questions. What's the source? Is there evidence? Does it stand up to scrutiny? In a world filled with Wikipedia rabbit holes, social media hot takes, and those friends who say, trust me, bro, we need to be careful. It's okay to have opinions. Just make sure you know when they're opinions, when they're actually opinions, and not truths. Now, how do we become more like the person who left Plato's cave and less like the ones still arguing over shadow puppets? One thing is, stay curious. Ask questions. Challenge what you think you know. If your instinct is, I already know that, ask yourself, but do you really? Embrace being wrong. It's okay. Finding out you're wrong isn't losing, it's learning. I have to have this conversation with my wife all the time, but every great scientist, philosopher, and wise old grandma has changed their mind at some point. Fact checked, like a pro. If your information comes from a meme, a tweet, or your cousin who just read it somewhere, maybe just double check that. And of course, also talk to people who disagree with you. This one's tough, but valuable. If you only ever listen to people who think just like you, you're basically still in the cave, just with better lighting. So, all right, folks, that's our time for today. Hopefully, this episode helped you a step a little closer to the light, or at least gave you a solid argument for the next someone who insists the earth is flat. Before we wrap up, here's a fun challenge. This week, try catching yourself when you're stating an opinion as if it's a fact. Then dig into it. Is it really true or just a well-loved shadow on the wall? And as always, if you like this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share it with a friend, with your fellow thinkers. Until next time, stay curious, stay questioning, and most importantly, stay out of the cave.